BSLS Big Sister Little Sister. So honored to have you. Thank you for allowing us to spotlight you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so we want to know who you are, what you do, how long you've been doing it, and when. Like, when did you start this and why?
So, my name is Dr. Tiana Hughes. I have been doing this for quite some time now. I started wanting to be a pediatrician back when I was in elementary school.
Oh, wow.
Like
elementary.
6th grade is when I kind of started going around telling people I was going to be a pediatrician when I grew up. And thank God it actually happened.
Ooh, because we all say things that don't happen.
But I don't know, I just always loved science. I always loved babies. Like from a really young age, I was the cousin who wanted to babysit everybody's child and all that stuff.
Free labor.
Yeah, actually I didn't get paid. You're right about that. But I don't know, I just always enjoyed being around children, babies in particular, and for whatever reason, like I have an aunt that is a pediatrician, and so when she was going through medical school, she would have all her science books and stuff out, and I was just drawn to it. It just was really interesting stuff, even though like it would look, some of the stuff would be kind of probably scary to some people. For whatever reason, I was just really interested in it, and I was just like, oh, this actually might be something that I could do.
And you stuck with it. Wow. And look at you now, Dr. Hughes. Yes, by the grace of God. That's amazing. So you work in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. That's incredible. That's incredible. So that really stuck to me, your story, because you stuck with it. You said you were going to do it and you followed through. That's so inspirational for a lot of women, especially like myself, to say you're going to do something and then really stick with it and then love what you do.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a blessing. Okay, so I want to just jump right into it.
Okay.
Young girls' health.
All right.
Why is it so important? Because sometimes when we're young, we feel like, oh, I can eat whatever, I can do whatever because I'm young. But tell us why that isn't okay and why it is important to be healthy.
So I think this is a thing. When it comes to your health, for all of us, particularly adults, the problem is that we get kind of stuck in habits. You know, when you're younger, you can eat whatever you want to eat and it doesn't look like it's going to affect you, but one day it does start to affect you. And the problem is that for a lot of adults, they have a hard time trying to make changes to be healthier because they're so used to eating a certain way and doing things a certain way. So as a pediatrician, I usually like to encourage my patients to try to eat healthy, eat your fruits and your vegetables. Make sure that when you put a plate together that it represents all the different food groups, and make sure that you're getting your snacks. You should be having breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because I do have a lot of teenagers that have come into my clinic and they don't eat breakfast, they don't eat lunch because they don't like the school lunch. But that's really not healthy for your brain. And you guys are at school all day, your brain needs food. In addition to that, it's really important to exercise.
Yes.
As you can imagine, we all need to exercise. It doesn't matter how big, small you are. It is really important to get out there, get your heart pumping, get sweating, because those are the things that are going to really help you have a healthy life, have a healthy weight, and help you to be a healthy adult, which is really my goal, is to help you become an adult that is still healthy.
Oh my gosh, you said some key things that I kind of want to emphasize on because it's so important, especially because I can relate to some of them. So you said whether you're small or big. So I used to have the issue because I was so small when I did work out. People like, you skinny, what you working out for? And that was the thing with me. So I felt like a little insecure, like maybe I shouldn't be working out because I'm skinny.
That's not the case. Even skinny people need to work out. We all do. It's about your heart health. It's about your stress health, mental health, all of that stuff. You know, exercising does help us to relieve stress, which unfortunately a lot of teenagers do deal with a lot of stress, and exercise can be a great outlet for kind of getting some of that stuff.
Oh wow, you kind of skipped ahead, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump to that. So you said because teens can be stressed. When I was growing up, people used to tell me, like, when I'll be like, I'm stressed out or this and that, like, you can't be stressed. What you stressed for? Like, that's what adults told me. So I used to feel like I can't be stressed, I can't be depressed because I'm a child or I'm a teen. Like, what bills do I have? Basically, they would say, what bills you have you stressed out about? So I felt like it was something I couldn't have. So honestly, I was walking around, and didn't know that I was stressed or depressed. I just resulted to my journal. So what are some key ways for us to identify that we are stressed and depressed, and how can we handle that? What can we do?
Well, depression is a whole thing in and of itself. Now, that in particular, you can, as you know, being adolescents, being teenagers, being whatever age you are, you all have some kind of interaction with other people. If you notice that a friend of yours is kind of starting to pull away from you guys, doesn't really want to interact anymore, seems like they always want to be by themselves, whenever you are around them, they're always like upset or happy or kind of just emotionally all over the place. They're eating more or eating less because of their emotions, or sleeping more or sleeping less because of their emotions. All those can be signs that there may be some depression underlying there.
Wow, that's I'm glad you pointed that out, because that's so essential to really pay attention basically to your friends, because those are great signs and symptoms to know that they are possibly depressed, stressed, or whatever the case. Thank you for naming some of those, because that's essential. Because I always hear, I have a niece, and she's always talking about like middle school drama, middle school mess. So, and she like tells me sometimes she's stressed out about it. I'm like, wow. So that's good. That's good that you noticed that.
People too. They still get stressed out. I mean, honestly, school is hard. They have a lot of homework they have to do. They have
and
all
extracurricular activities.
They're doing sports or whatever else on top of that, and then just the regular teenage stuff. Guys, you know, girls, all that stuff. So it can be a lot.
It can be a lot. A lot of pressure.
It can be a lot for an adult. So
even from social media, it's a lot of pressure for these young girls to live up to a certain standard, have so many likes, so many followers. It's just so much stress and pressure that they don't need.
Yeah.
So now I have an even more important question.
Okay.
So when I go to the doctor, this is a two-part question.
Okay.
When, like, you know, if I'm a young girl and I go to the doctor, what is safe with my doctor? Like, what kind of things can I ask? And what kind of questions should I ask my doctor? And once I ask these questions, basically, what's safe?
Okay. So as far as talking to your doctor, you should be able to talk to them about any and everything. Because the problem is, I think a lot of people in general, they get a little scared, you know, when they have to open up and tell somebody that something that they may not be proud of, or that they're just, you know, scared to even ask about, you know, certain things. The problem with that is that as a physician, the only way that I know how to really help you is if I know the information that I need to know. So there may be things that, because you didn't tell me this is going on in your life, like for instance, we were talking about depression. If I'm asking you questions about how you're doing, you know, if you're happy, or, you know, what things are going on in your life, and you try to just pretend like there's nothing wrong when there really is, there's no way for me to know that you actually have depressive symptoms, because you're not opening up and telling me that.
And you're not. And of course, when you go to the doctor, you're like a whole nother person.
And I'm not a mind reader. And so, you know, it's important to be able to be open and honest. And you can talk to your doctor about sex. You can talk to them about drugs. You can talk to them about anything that you have.
What about being bullied?
Bullying, everything. I mean, there is no topic that you should not be able to talk to your doctor about, because as a physician, our job is to try to help you guys make healthy decisions, you know, in whatever capacity that is. So we want you to be making healthy decisions in terms of your eating and exercising, but we also want you to make healthy decisions when it comes to dating and, you know, whether or not, do I want to have sex? Do I not want to have sex? What's going on with my body? All those things, we are equipped to answer those kinds of questions. So we're going to give you accurate information that you know is true, you know, that you don't have to worry about anybody finding out about.
Because it's safe. Yes. Oh my gosh, that was great that you mentioned gave some examples of what kind of questions, because I know some people are wondering, like, is this okay to ask? Or if I ask this, is she going to judge me? Because that's another thing they'll be worried about. Like, if I am honest, she's going to judge me, and maybe the next time I come, she's going to remember or think that I'm whatever.
There isn't much I haven't heard.
Well, that's definitely
you don't have
good
to
to
worry
know
about being judged by your doctor.
That's
it really
good.
is. It just, we want to help. That's all we want to do. We want to be helpful, and the only way that we can really do that
is if they know the right
information.
Exactly. Now my next question is, now we know what we need to ask the doctor, what kind of things are safe with them, which is everything. Now, how often should I be going?
So pretty much once a year. And
Okay.
the main reason that we do that is just to make sure that things are going okay. As you are growing up, your body is going to be changing, and it's an opportunity for you to come in and say, hey, I noticed that something is happening over here.
Wow.
Is that normal? Is it not normal? So it's like a chance once a year for you to come in and get a good looking over by the doctor.
That's true.
To find out whether or not there's a problem, and if there is a problem, then your doctor can do whatever's necessary to fix it.
Okay, absolutely. Well, you are good, because that led me to my next question, which is, as a young girl, I may be, getting tall, or not growing much, or not developing like my friends are, because we all have different bodies, genetics, and we all are eating differently and exercising differently. Which leads me to my next question is, when will I stop growing, and when will I stop developing?
So that varies from one person to the next, like you already said, because puberty starts at different times for people. Now, there are some averages in terms of when girls actually start to go into puberty, which is when your body is preparing you for adulthood. But like I said, that varies from one person to the next. I'd say the earliest for girls is typically about the age of 8, but average is between anywhere from like 9 to 10. And then you continue on through the process of puberty. I would say somewhere about 17, 18-ish. Again, it ranges, but somewhere in there, you're kind of getting to that adult height that you'll be for the rest of your life.
So if I turn 20, basically I'm done growing?
For the most part. Unless there's something else going on, more than likely it's probably
done.
Deal, yeah.
Okay. Now, we mentioned about being honest with your doctor, which is so essential, and you gave some advice about what kind of questions to ask. And now I kind of want to know about like my menstrual cycle. Like, what is it? Why do I have it? And when will it stop? And should I be wearing pads or tampons?
So, a menstrual cycle is a monthly process that a girl's body goes through. So really, it is to prepare your body to potentially carry a baby. That's the purpose of it.
Okay.
But it starts at a very young age. Like we were saying, you kind of go into puberty about 9, 10, so anywhere between 11, 12, 13, some a little later, some a little earlier, you can start your period. You're more than likely not ready to have a child at that age, but that is the process that your body goes through to prepare you for being able to have a child when you eventually decide that you want to. So once a month, your uterus does certain things to prepare for this baby that you might have, and then once it realizes, oh, you're not going to have a baby, then you have the shedding of that lining in the uterus, and that's what you see as your period.
Wow. Wow.
Now, in terms of tampons versus pads, early on, it may be a little bit confusing how a tampon works. And a pad is a lot easier to just put a pad in there and just go with it, especially in the beginning, because you're still learning what a period is. You're trying to figure out what that means for your body.
Yes.
And so it may be a little bit easier to start off with a pad, and then once you get kind of used to a period, consider branching out to like a tampon. But have to remember that you need to change those things.
Oh my gosh, that was what I was going to get to, because some girls, they don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know. I've had some girl, especially when I was growing up, my friends, as soon as we saw a drop of blood, we were like, ooh, we need to go change. And then some of them would leave it in all day.
Yeah.
So some of them were like, we didn't know. As soon as we saw something, we were like, oh, I'm going to get a new one. And then, like, I remember I did it for a little bit. My mom was like, you are running through these things. And I'm like, yeah, because every time I see something, I'm
ready to change.
Yes. And then I had some of my friends that were staying there all day, and I'm like, ooh.
So pads are a little different. They're not inside of your body. So you can kind of gauge when you're ready to change it. You don't want to necessarily do it every time you see a drop of blood, because you will run through them very quickly. Yes. And they're not cheap.
Right.
But you can kind of tell when it's about time to change a pad. The tampon can be a little bit trickier in the sense that For girls, they may not necessarily fill it up as quickly depending upon how heavy their flow is. And even if you don't fill it up as quickly as you think you were going to, it's still a good idea to consider changing it every 3 to 4 hours or so. So at least a few times throughout the day, you should be changing them.
Okay, good. So we need to be changing frequently, ladies. Now that my next question, I think I skipped one. Okay, so say I'm a young girl and I'm not eating healthy, I'm not exercising, I'm just really not doing what I need to do to make sure that, for one, my body is growing and healthy. What can I do? Like, when is a good time for me to like change my habits so that I can maintain being healthy and improve my health?
So I think if you at any point in time feel like you're not making healthy decisions, it's never too late to make the changes that you need to make in order to make those healthy decisions. In terms, I already kind of talked about like the eating your fruits and your vegetables, exercising. So as far as exercise, it is a good idea for anybody under the age of 18 to get at least a good 1 hour a day, 5 days a week of exercise.
Oh, good, yes.
It can be hard because people have very busy schedules. But
it's possible.
Yeah, it is possible. It is possible. You just have to figure out creative ways to kind of.
And what about sleep? Because some of these young people are not sleeping because they are up all night on Instagram, Snapchat, and everything else.
So, on average, it's a lot. You should be getting anywhere between 9 to 10 hours of sleep.
Oh, wow. I know they're not.
So it kind of, as you get older, the amount of sleep that you need does start to decrease. But at the adolescent age, they really should be trying to get a minimum. And honestly, that's pushing it. 8 hours is pushing it. I really would say more, like I said before, the 9 to 10 hour mark.
Good.
Which is hard.
Yes, it's hard because they have so much.
Yeah.
And then some of them up all night on Snapchat and Instagram anyways, trying to get some selfies. So that was, oh my gosh, we've run through these questions. But my last thing I want to ask is, what is some advice or just anything that you feel like you can let our young queens know that is essential for them as they are transitioning from being a young princess to being a queen? Like, what's some amazing advice? Something maybe someone told you or something that you have, figured out now being an adult. What is something that you can leave them with? And me too.
I think a big thing that a lot of us learn as we're growing up, coming into adulthood and moving forward, is to really learn to love yourself.
Wow.
It is a really important thing, and I don't think enough of us do that early enough in life. And it kind of goes back to the social media stuff that you were talking about, where we're constantly comparing ourselves to, the pictures that we see in magazines. And I've never looked like any magazine picture. I've never had the body that I saw in the magazine pictures. And coming up, I always struggled with that because there were times where I felt like, well, maybe I'm not, going to be enough of a woman because I don't look like this magazine picture, or maybe I'm not this, or maybe I won't get married, or maybe this won't happen for me because I don't look like this magazine picture. And that's just not true. We are all beautiful.
Absolutely.
We are all going to be different. And that is the way, honestly, that God wants us to be. It would be boring for us to all be exactly the same.
Absolutely. I know I would be bored if I just got to see the same thing over and over and over. And it really does make us unique, looking differently. Wow, that hit home for me. That really, really hit home. Yeah. Like, love yourself as you are. Wow.
You have to, because the one thing is, and you talk about in terms of me becoming a pediatrician, there were a lot of people that told me that I couldn't do this and that I wouldn't make it. But at the end of the day, I had to look at myself in the mirror and say, when I grow up, when I become that old lady in my 80s, I don't want to look back over my life and realize that I didn't push myself to do things because of what everybody else thought I couldn't do. Or I didn't love myself enough because I didn't think I met whatever the standards were.
Wow.
You have to love who you are, what you got, and make the most of it, because it is the only body you're going to have. This is the only life you're going to live. You have to go out there and do it, and nobody is going to do it for you.
Wow.
So you just have to get the, I don't even know what the word is, but just get the focus that you need and encourage yourself.
Yes. Oh my God.
To keep pushing.
Ooh, another high five. That was good. That is powerful. And it really ties into everything that you said and mentioned during our Q&A about, in order to love yourself, you have to eat healthy. You have to get enough sufficient rest. You need to be able to recognize when you're depressed. You need to be honest with your doctor, because you never know what encouragement your doctor can give you, and the love. Like, that all ties into what we've talked about. And that's, honestly, that was so powerful. Like, that last statement was so powerful and so on time. Like, I feel like it's important for our young queens to know that you have to love yourself.
Yes.
You have to, because we teach other people how to love us by the way we love ourselves. Wow. And again, I thank you, Dr. Hughes, for your time, for your advice, for your wisdom, and for your experience, sharing your experience and your journey. That wasn't enough. We're going to have to get Dr. Hughes back. Thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you. I really appreciate it.